Good morning to you guys. It's 4:10. Pardon me, it's 9:31 on 4:10, 2017. It's anikaspar from CORE. Thank you all for your wonderful, wonderful, wonderful support over the last several weeks. It was very, very necessary because we are getting hit like I'm concerned for our life, to be honest with you. Last night, and you can kind of see it in my face, we were hit with at least well, the ones I could detect were three different waves, and it's not good. I mean, they're definitely killing us. So I just wanted to give you an update about some developments that are really important in terms of our ability to move forward. Because Florida is a state that has been long committed to these programs, unfortunately, even though Senator Rubio's office and many actually in Sarasota have tried to stand the programs down, it's very clear that there is a contingent of folks who run these programs who are completely lawless, and they basically, no matter what is turned off during the day, they attack us from about 4:30 on and all weekend like you cannot imagine. And the reason, of course, they are is because I have had a history of being very effective with getting group things done in a positive way for the group as well as the individuals, and I'm pretty relentless unless you kill me, which I'm getting to that point because last night was, and it. I mean, I've had to move the bed into the living room. You cannot imagine what we're going through here, and it's still not stopping them. They're just they're whoever is behind these programs is a very demented creature, as we know, but I'm beginning to see just how demented because the level of aggression that they have levied against us this weekend was really, really surreal, actually. And we have to, Gemma and I, and all core members, but particularly Gemma and I, because we've been so very severely targeted since the filing of the UN letters and request for intervention by the UN. Um, we have been really hit wildly. So we're working on this right now. We would like to develop core in a manner in which we could actually be truly covered financially for what we're doing first and foremost. It costs about a minimum of $500 a month with all costs without us charging. Well, actually about 300. Yeah, here come the sirens. It's amazing. So anyway, and on the other side of it is the fact that we need to get to safe harbor immediately. And I know I've said this before, so forgive me for being repetitive, but I have to do it because our lives are endangered. It's very clear now just how much in danger they are. I mean, it was waking up at 3:30 in the morning with three different pulses going through you, watching your cat get very sick, moving from bed to couch to bed to couch to try to find a place where she can actually rest because the frequencies are so overwhelming. Watching Jamo get a very severe headache, and both of us waking up with nosebleeds. It's not good at all. So we need to get somewhere safe, and I've chosen a place, as I've said before. So we're going to ask all core participants to pay a one-time fee of $88. Maybe that's for the whole year. Maybe I don't know yet because we haven't even gotten to be able to start to reach out for fundraising because I mean, you can't imagine. Oh, she's home, Sophie. You can't imagine. I mean, it's just, and plus, I've been targeted for 20 years, so I'm pretty played, as you can see. I mean, they just are destroying my protein. I mean, it's like just, and if you saw the way I ate, and if you saw the way I live, I have one of the most viceless lives on the planet, I'm pretty sure. So, um, we need to raise that money ASAP, and we need to get, John and I need to get somewhere safe. And ideally, we want to be somewhere way in the middle of the ocean because the ocean itself and nature will actually absorb a lot of the frequencies, which takes a lot off of us little tiny beings because it's too much. I mean, it's crazy, crazy what they're doing. And I know a lot of you know it, so I know, but this is the first time it's been this bad for me, and then to have two other living beings around me going through it at the same time, and seeing them suffer as well. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I know those of you who've been in this position know exactly what I'm talking about. So we didn't get letters out last week because of a lot of interception, a lot of craziness. And they're going to go out this week, but we're going to have to, unless we can get to the fusion center here in my area and really get a written stand down, and the FBI and others, without having to sign a confidentiality agreement, because in the United States, they've actually offered that to me about 6 months ago, that I could speak with I could speak with them, but I had to sign a confidentiality agreement, and you just never sign those things with these guys, because that means in some way, shape, or form, you're actually going to be limiting their liability. Pardon me. I'm so sorry. I'm so fried today. So I want all of you who are volunteering and participating, I want you to know that we incredibly, incredibly, incredibly appreciate you. But we're getting so hit in Florida, and Florida seems to be one of the top states for this, of course. And I was, of course, managed down here. Um, that we have to get somewhere safe before we can really aggressively push, because it's just too much. I can't. That was 3 nights of Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Sunday night was hell. I mean, real hell. I can't go through and it's not worth it to me. What we're doing, if you hired basically a communications firm to do this, and a lobbying firm, because that's basically what we're doing, right? Okay, you would pay a chunk of change, a minimum of $25,000 retainer for a 6 month. Yeah, that wouldn't even cover it. Maybe, but that would be bare bones, and you would get very little. You wouldn't get legislative work, that's for sure. So you have to understand that with no real payment and only massive targeting by some of the most criminal of the criminal, because that's apparently what it is, because they stand down. They stand down when office hours are, which then I have to cycle through and start to sleep during office hours. And I don't know if I could I don't know if I can discombobulate myself quite this way, but so we really need to get to this safe haven. We probably only need to raise about $5,000 to do that. Once we're at, but we're gonna, I'm sorry, we really do need to raise the full 10,000, because we're gonna need equipment for the office. We're gonna need a lockdown secure system. I mean, crypto, serious, okay? Um, because these guys who continue to perpetrate, even though they have been warned by a senator's office, and a senator's office, that comes from a lineage of a lot of power, that's scary stuff. That means, you've got some very criminally insane people, um, totally doing whatever they want, which we've all known, but to live it and to really realize it's that bad in our country is scary. It's very scary. So we're going to continue with what we said we would do. We're going to fulfill that, but you have to understand we're going to have to stand down. We might have to close everything, because we can't put our lives in jeopardy. And now I get very much how many leaders in the community have been put in this position. And so they were put in a position where, when they were actually making advances, they were undermined by this. I completely get that. There is a whole contingent of controlled opposition, which I won't talk about right now, but this is what I want to say about our community. Regardless of what has transpired to date, and a lot has transpired to date, we need to come together in unities, which is exactly what I said in late January when I first started doing this. And we need to coordinate, and we need to stop the petty ridiculousness, because if it's not petty ridiculousness, then it's controlled opposition. And this is what I mean. When I was on Wall Street, in order to invest in a given company, a given investment, equity or debt, you had to analyze not only the entity issuing the financial instrument, but you also had to analyze its milieu, or its environs. And if you looked at any entity that was issuing an investable device, and you saw what I've seen in our community, which is an enormous amount of powerful people with enormous experience and advanced education. I only have a BA, guys. I'm like a little punk. I really am when it comes to that. But I also have my grandfather's brilliant brain, and so that makes up for that. But there's two explanations for a decade of nothing getting done. One is that the most effective people get taken out. I'm seeing it right now, so I get that. I really get that. Two, the people who have all that incredible knowledge, and that knowledge means that they know how to work through, above, under, and around systems. And ultimately, this is a system we're dealing with, right? Um, if they all got taken out, which is sad, but I would understand that, but that's not the case. And if they, the only other explanation is that they are not true. It's like a shell company. It's like if you were to analyze this in any industry or any investment, you'd say, whoa, what's going on over here? Are these people really being crunched by the competition? Because they're getting nothing done. There's no product, no service, it's not happening. And yet, and so that's one answer. They're getting crunched. But then the next question is like, well, why? These are really incredibly talented people with advanced degrees, which means they should have been thinking, 567,000 different things in order to transcend the competition. But then the other is they're doing nothing. It's a shell company or a shell entity, which means it would be controlled opposition. And I think in our community, it's a combination of both. I think we have an enormous amount of controlled opposition in our ranks and in our leadership, unfortunately, because these are big programs for the deep, crazy state guys. But I also am very cognizant of the fact that living it now for almost 3 months, that those who are most effective get taken out. And that's why things don't get done. And if, however, we coordinate together, that means all of us worldwide, leadership as best as we can, throw the idiocy out the window, stay in a place of real accomplishment and support of each other, we might have a chance. We might. Because we can cycle it through many different folks. I'm just finishing a book about WikiLeaks and how WikiLeaks became so successful. That wasn't easy either, at all. And the structure or system that I'm looking at, that Julian and the early people put together, is very similar to what we need to do here with the targeting community. So we all need to transcend our differences immediately. We all need to forgive and forget. And that includes myself, and I have no issue with forgiving and forgetting. I prefer that any day. But I won't be perked by leadership or anyone else in the TI community. It will never happen again because I have been so perked since I stepped up to the plate. It is surreal how perked. And Jamal's watched it now for a month, so he's very, very clear, and he has been in these programs his entire life, so he's pretty much seen everything. So that's what I have to say about that. And I'm sorry to say that it's likely that we're going to have to stand down because we can't take what they're doing to us. We just can't take it. I have to send another email to Rubio's office. I have to call them. I have to, you cannot imagine. Well, yeah, maybe you can, what they do, but in a state that it's completely Republican held, has very little laws to protect a human or any other life. And we had a weekend of sewer stench emissions, crazy flybys, dropping of massive, massive chemtrails so that they could conduct on us like they did last night. I knew it because the minute they did it, I started to sneeze. It was the plane, the delivery vehicle. And then sure enough, last night it was outrageous. So this nano smart dust stuff is really something else. So we need to be safe first and foremost. And we've said that for our group, for every single member of our group with CORE, but we need to do it ourselves because it's too much. It's really way too much. So if you have any ideas or inspirations, please feel free to contact us. If you want to be a member of CORE and move in the actions that we are moving on, please also contact us. If you'd like to volunteer, we would love to be able to throw things. Because see, that's the thing. When you get into a position where you have enough volunteers, we can throw the majority of things off to different people and we can cycle the torture. I know. Can you imagine? but seriously, we could. And so if you'd like to volunteer, we'd love to have you. But please remember, as a member of CORE, you do have to sign a disclaimer as well as provide your ID. And that's that's uh, to um, to protect you as well as to protect us and to protect all of the actions that we're taking. And if you can contribute, and there's a link below, to raising the $10,000 that we need to start a real office with some real equipment in a safe place. And the place I'm thinking of requires shipping stuff. I mean, it's in the middle of the ocean. And I think it's probably one of the few safe places we could find to do this, to be honest. We'd be more than grateful. And of course, had I not been prevented from starting my businesses in the past 4 years, or hadn't had my business that was really working well in Puerto Rico crash and burn because of them, what did they do? Oh, yeah, that was right. Um, they fried the computer with lightning strikes. That was the first, and then the phones, and I mean, that's 3 computers and 4 phones. So I wouldn't be in this position if they hadn't also stolen my disability money straight out. Up. I know, honey. I would fund this all myself because that's how committed I am to us being able to transcend this. But until I get into a safe place where I'm not bombarded 24/7, now it's 3 months of this pretty much. There were stand down times, but usually it was only about a week. So it's about 3 weeks and almost 3 months of stand down, and the rest very heavy targeting and really crazy last night. I can't do it. I just can't. And John also, he's at 1 month into it. He's like, this isn't worth it. We're not paid. This is a lot of work, and they are killing us. So give it some thought. Please feel free to contact us at any time at CORE, CORE, the number 8, the number 8, the number 8, miracles at gmail.com or at Annie, ANIKASPAR at gmail.com or at 941-356-8007. And now I'm going to take a call from a CORE member who is such an incredible gift to us. Blessings this week, this holiday week, and namaste.